pitch. Change hit in the air to deep right field. That goes to Lindy. It's the save. He's done. Get out of here, baseball. It's gone. Oh, my God. You believe it? Johnny Bench has tied it up. The Cincinnati Reds win the World Series in force rate. It was a sweep. In the dirt. It's a wild pitch. Here comes Foster. The Reds win the pennant.
Perkins won the game.
That ball is fair. Cincinnati's ahead. 2 games to none.
Welcome, Joe Landa to Cincinnati. Adam Dunn has done it again.
Benzinger backing and calling. And the 1990 World Championship belongs to the Cincinnati Reds.
Marty, yes. This is Adam from Milwaukee. Hey, Adam, how you doing? I'm good. How are you? Good. Do you think Scott Chatterbox is a good player?
Dunn up there with the bases loaded, the outfield deep and around toward right, and the 1-0 on the way to the plate. Swung on, long drive, right field, and this one belongs to the Reds.
And a high drive, hit back into deep right field. Junior has just knocked the door down to the 500 club.
Benson's first home run is a walk-off winner. That ball had a family.
And De La Cruz is, oh my goodness, look at this kid run. My, oh my, that is a triple.
Matt McClain's first big league bomb.
Spencer Steer's first big league hit is a home run to straightaway center field. Joey Votto's done it again.
The pitch. Votto swings high in the air. Right field. Yes! He pointed to the dugout to say, I told you. That is Joey Votto's 315th career go-ahead ribby. Only Johnny Bench had more as a Red.
And I can't tell you how much it means to play in front of everyone here in Cincinnati as a Red. What a gift. What a tremendous gift. So thank you. Thank you.
I think I can speak for all of Reds country. Joey Votto, thank you.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the Laurent Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Reds win! Line into right field. Junior, the first run ever with 4 home runs in a game. Can you believe it? In the air, down the right field line. Doesn't have a chance. The Reds have won on a 3-run home run on opening day by Ramon Hernandez. A strike away and out away is Homer Bailey. Ground ball to third. Frazier gloves. Throw to first, and Homer Bailey, for the second time in his major league career, has tossed a no-hitter. Oh, gosh. Oh, are you kidding me? Holy Moses, the second player in major league history to hit 7 home runs in the first 10 games. In the air, and the Reds win. What a dream beginning to the career of Jay Bruce.
All right, folks, it is here. Reds win 10-2. They take 3 of 4 from the Pittsburgh Pirates, and now the only thing that is left in front of us is the trade deadline. Reds are playing better baseball. That's a fact, and I know it wasn't a very high bar that they left themselves with there for a long period of time to play better baseball, but they have. And you can say whatever you want about it, whether you kind of were rooting for that or you were just kind of, you had a little bit of apathy towards it. It doesn't matter. It was at least enjoyable to watch them play this series. And obviously we'll get into the Tyler Stevenson stuff here in just a bit. Reds win. Nick, the storyline and most of the probably attention for the vast majority of fans are going to be the trade deadline. But, you know, you still have to watch the games, and, you know, it's nice to see them play. It's nice to see them play better. I don't know if I want to consider them playing good. I don't want to get into the semantics of all that, but it's nice to see them play better.
Yeah, I mean, winning 4 out of 5 series in the big leagues is nothing to scoff about, no matter who you play. And I mean, like the Pirates this weekend, they had all the motivation in the world. I mean, this is a team that is trying to convince their front office to be buyers at the trade deadline. And if I was doing a Pirate show right now, I'd be like, "Did you just watch that? You're going to buy for this team?" I mean, that's exactly what you'd be saying right now if you were in Pittsburgh. And same thing with St. Louis, same thing with the Guardians. Reds did lose that series, the only series they've lost. But yeah, they haven't played great teams, but they've played teams that are in spots where they're playing to be buyers at the deadline. Every single one of them in the last 3 series at least. And the Reds have played well. They played good baseball. Just you kind of, just like you go back to May and June. It's like, man, if they just could have found a way to scratch across to 2 more wins in May, 2 more wins in June, it's an entirely different conversation right now.
It could be. It could be. It doesn't mean that it ultimately would have been the right decision to make, even if they were kind of in the mix, because as I've said before, and I'll continue to say it, I just don't think this team is as close as we want to make it out to be. And it's just, and I get fandom from time to time can be tough because you're passionate and you want to voice your opinion, and you certainly want to feel like, you want to be heard. So I'll just say it like this. On one hand, you got people that want to rip it down to the studs, get rid of everybody. And then now it's like, well, I don't know. If this team keeps playing this well, then look how far back they are of the wild card. I personally, yet again, am going to stand on the hill, and I will die on this hill, that this team is not it. And that's okay. But we've got to find pieces for them to be it going into next year. And maybe this trade deadline isn't like a direct hit to that, but let's face it, you don't know what you might get back in return that ultimately could lead to something down the road that makes a very, very big impact. And I'd like to at least get some lottery tickets and see what happens with them, because I ultimately know what's going to happen basically by the end of this year if you keep it ho-hum. So I don't think we have to worry about that. I think we were worried about that 2 weeks ago, about what the Reds might do. I think it's pretty safe that they're going to sell. And as I said before, if they don't sell, it tells me everything I need to know about everything. And I might not be, I don't say me, but the lockout would come at a pretty good time for your boy here if they decide to buy.
If the Reds do not trade Brady Singer and Tyler Stevenson, I'm afraid at 6 p.m. I think people are going to see the most pessimistic Nick Kirby they've ever seen. I mean, I'll just be completely honest. I don't think there'd be a single moment in my Reds fandom, maybe ever. I don't think that's hyperbole, that I would be more disgusted at this franchise than if those 2 players. And I like both those players. Don't get me wrong. I'd love to sign both those players to get in free agency in the offseason. But if they're not traded at the trade deadline tomorrow, just those 2, which is the absolute bare minimum, I would be absolutely disgusted. It'd be hard to do this show for the rest of the season.
We'll find out. 20 hours, 47 minutes, and you got it down to the second, which at this point in time is 22 seconds down to 21 and 20. You get the point. All right, Nick, we have the box score recap as always, which we will get into. Everything that happened in this baseball game. It was a delightful one if you're a Reds fan. Pirates fan, not so much.
All right, Chatterbox Reds brought to you by Sharefax Credit Union. Sharefax is a not-for-profit financial institution owned by its members that returns earnings to them through lower fees and better rates in addition to traditional banking options. Sharefax Credit Union is an equal opportunity lender and insured by NCUA. All right, Reds taking on the Pirates. Reds going for a series win. Chase Burns going up against Mitch Keller. In the first inning, Reds got off to a great start. Sal Stewart hit another home run. Tyler Stevenson followed that with an RBI double, and Nathaniel Lowe added an RBI single quickly, 3-0 Reds. In the second inning, Brian Hayes absolutely destroyed a baseball to make it 4-0. Third inning, Lowe, Myers, and Marte all reached base to lead off the inning, and the Reds chase Mitch Keller from the game, who looked like he wanted absolutely no part of pitching through a rainy Sunday afternoon in Cincinnati. Matt McClain then hit a sac fly. Then Elly De La Cruz delivered a 2-run single. Reds lead 7-0. In the fourth inning, Nathaniel Lowe hit an RBI double, and Dan Myers followed that with an RBI double. The Reds took a 9-1 lead. Chase Burns, a really gutsy effort, fought through rainy conditions, delays. It wasn't an official delay, I don't think, but there was like a 20-minute delay that wasn't a rain delay at one point. But Burns goes 6 innings, 2 hits, just gives up 1 run, 2 walks, strikes out 9 batters. In the 8th inning, Tyler Stevenson hit a solo home run in what might be his final at-bat with the Reds. Reds took a 10-2 lead, and that would be your final score. Reds improved to 53 and 58 on the season. The Reds have won 4 out of 5 series since the All-Star break, and the Reds going to the trade deadline sit 5.5 games back.
All right, there's been times where we have the deep drive of the day, and I make fun of it, and we do all these things, and I get it. Nick, to a certain extent, any time that there's the possibility of shining a light on Brian Hayes, he will do it. But I'm going to say this: it's 106 off the bat, 429 feet. I get it. He doesn't do it a lot, but Tyler Stevenson is going to be the deep drive of the day. I don't know how far it went. I don't know how hard it was. But ultimately, I do know this. Braxton Brewing. They are the official craft beer partner of the Cincinnati Reds. You can crack open a Ballpark Beer, a crisp German-style light beer crafted perfectly for 9 innings and hot summer nights. You can grab a cold one at Great American Ballpark, Braxton Taprooms, or your local retailer. Braxton Brewing is brewed for Reds country. That would give the Reds a 4-0 lead, by the way, off Brian Hayes' home run in the bottom of the second. I'm not, what do I say here? I'm starting to feel like a bad person because I get the sentiments of all the people that are that are humans, and they fall in love with certain players, and they certainly feel for certain players. And Stevenson's comments after the game were heartfelt, and you could tell that it meant something to him. And I'm thankful that he had that passion for this franchise, and I'm thankful that he had those emotions. Don't get me wrong, but maybe I'm just cold-blooded anymore, and it's like that's what this league is. I mean, that's what pro sports are. You get paid a handsome sum to go play a kid's game, and sometimes this stuff happens. And the whole concept or idea that, I don't know, I mean, you got a guy that cares that much about a franchise, you know what you do? You go and figure out a way if you can't make it happen in the offseason. Or you have those conversations before you trade him, and you say, like, listen, we're going to make a really aggressive move to try to get you back this offseason, but let's face it, the predicament that we're in, we need to get as many people in our building that might be able to help us in future years as we can, and this is part of it. And Tyler Stevenson, if I had to guess, is going to be upset for about a week, maybe, Nick, and he's going to look up and realize he's playing for a team that's got a chance to go to the postseason in a new city that he might fall in love with. So, I guess I'm just a bad person because it just doesn't bother me, I guess, is what I've come to grips with today.
Here's how I view it. I think Tyler probably genuinely enjoyed his time with the Reds. I think the reading between the lines of Tyler Stevenson just loves Cincinnati and he's so heartbroken to be traded. I think it's just the emotions of leaving somewhere you've been for so long. And I'm gonna do my best impression of a Trace analogy. So when I was hired by Chatterbox Sports by Trace Fowler himself, I had worked for a company for I think 7 years. I had been at the same company, a job that I liked. I mean, for a job, it wasn't something I loved. Getting to go work in sports, I mean, like the dream job, something I never thought was even a possibility. I mean, it was a no-brainer decision to leave, and clearly a job that for me was significantly better. On my last day at the old job, I got a little emotional, and I didn't want to stay there. Like I have never for 1 second been like, oh man, I wish I could go back to that old job. But I was still emotional because, I was thinking back, I had both of my kids while I was employed here, and Tyler Stevenson had both of has kids in Cincinnati, and got married not in Cincinnati, but while he was and like life has happened around him, and I think it's probably a lot more life than the Cincinnati Reds baseball professional organization, and I think that's fine. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I would love to have Tyler Stevenson back in the offseason, but I think you're right. I think in a week, if Tyler Stevenson goes to a contender and there's some juice going, I don't think he's going to be like, oh, man, I really miss playing a Great American Ballpark.
Yeah, I completely agree, and I guess that's just part of it, and I'm hopeful that we find a way in which at some point we don't have to do this, and we have a team that is right in contention, and you don't have to trade away players that are your best players at the deadline. Like you said, whatever you want, Tyler Stevenson's one of the Reds' best players this year, and yeah, I mean that's just. I'm thankful for Tyler that he's gotten off the snide a little bit, because it wasn't a great start, and then he started playing much better, and you kind of felt like Nick there for a minute. You're like, he's costing himself a ton of money. I remember thinking that after like the first month and a half. He was like, this guy is really going to burn himself here. If he had a good year this year, he was going to make and command some significant coin and be a guy that I think would be sought after by multiple teams to probably drive that price up even a little bit higher. He's kind of done that now. I mean, he has certainly done that now. And now it's going to be, interesting what the Reds decide to do, because there's not really a direct replacement for Tyler Stevenson. We'll get into that here in just a bit, but it's just not a direct replacement for him. And Reds have some decisions to make. They got 20 hours to figure it out, but this front office is going to have to win. Like, they're going to have to find a way to be right, and be right a lot, because they've dug themselves a little bit of a hole here. All right. Any other final parting thoughts from the game today? The offense played exceptionally well. You go out there and you beat around Mitch Keller, and you throw 70 pitches, I think, in 2 innings. And, yeah, I get the rain and all that. But Andrew Abbott threw in the rain last night. That's why I don't make excuses about the rain. That's why I still feel the same. Like, you play the game. And until the umpires say that, you got to get off the field, I don't care what happens. The game is the game.
I agree with that to agree. I think Chase Burns deserves some extra credit kind of for what he did today. I mean, I think that was very impressive that he was able to get through 6 innings. I mean, with a delay at some point.
Yep.
I mean, it's just, how do you not just be blown away with him? Sal Stewart just keeps on hitting, 24 home runs. I mean, Sal's probably going to get to 30, maybe 35. Like, that's crazy to think of. Good to see Brian Hayes. That's 2 home runs for him since he's been back. Just hope that he can show something. I know there's no point discussing Brian Hayes because it's a lost cause. But my last thought was nice to see Nate Lowe also end on a high note at 3 hits, 2 doubles, 3 hard hit balls. Really nice signing. A guy that I absolutely think the Reds should move tomorrow. I have to think there's got to be a team that could use Nate Lowe. But nice to see those guys end well, and nice to see Tyler Stevenson, end his Reds career presumably on a high note. I think he had a really good Reds career. I don't think he had a great Reds career, but I think he had a really good Reds career. I think that's the kind of career you are hoping for. When you draft a player like that, he delivered, and there's been not a lot of Reds players that have delivered, and I think Tyler Stevenson did deliver. So good to see him end on a high note. I'd love to see him back in a Reds uniform at some point.
I think most Reds fans would love Tyler Stevenson to re-sign back here. Now, I don't know how realistic that is, and as I've said before, I do think that there are times where, like you just mentioned, you're emotional because of a lot of different things, and then you leave, and then once you're gone, you realize, like, oh, man, like, there's more to life than just whatever I used to have all the time. I remember the first time I traveled out west, and, you see all these mountains, and it's like – you just see a whole new different landscape of the country that you live in, and you're like, what? Wow. Like, I feel like I've been privy to nothing. I feel like I'm clueless when it comes to how other things work and operate, and the views and all these things that you can do in this world. That might happen to Tyler Stevenson. He might go to another team and be like, yeah, I mean, with all due respect, I didn't realize how dysfunctional the place was, Or he might say, I love it. It's a family-ran business, and, I like it there. I don't know.
He might go to New York and be like, oh, man, There's real media pressure here.
Yeah.
What we were getting
We
in
thought-
Cincinnati was nothing.
Thought Chatterbox Reds was tough on us. Golly. That's how I think
This
sometimes.
job boy guy won't shut up.
Yeah.
By framing.
I mean, exactly. Cincinnati is a wonderful town to play in from a media perspective. I'm genuinely, I think there is, and I know people think maybe on times of this show that I'm overly critical or whatever. It's like, I think that from a fan base perspective, it is exceptionally fair. Outside of the fact of Joey Votto and maybe Elly De La Cruz, the vast majority of players get the benefit of the doubt. TJ Friedel, for instance, wouldn't have tires on his car if he lived in another city that was a major market, okay? He wouldn't even, I mean, literally people would be stealing the copper out from underneath the truck that he drives. He wouldn't even be able to start the vehicle to get to the ballpark. Here, we're just like, I mean, it's kind of disappointing if we have to keep watching this guy. Can't get a hit in 20, maybe 29 different at-bats, but he still gets a chance. Well, maybe tomorrow it'll be a better day. It'll be interesting to see what happens. But I am rooting the fact that Tyler Stevenson will sign back with the Reds, and if he doesn't, then I would like another catcher because we need him. So, all right. Speaking of which, if you need to get a catch, Nick, or you're trying to make a catch, some are saying that, you could perhaps go somewhere to help secure the catch.
Yeah, Richter & Phillips now has first look appointments. It's an appointment designed for people just starting in their engagement ring journey. You can try on engagement rings in person, compare styles, ask questions, and learn at your own pace with a dedicated jewelry specialist. Perfect for shopping solo or with your partner. And they're available on Thursday evenings when they're open late between 5 p.m. to 8 p.m. Book on Richter & Phillips' website or the link here in our Chatterbox Reds on YouTube description or the Chatterbox Reds podcast.
All right. We do have some supers. M. Dean JD says, we will miss Ty Steve. We just don't know it yet. I think we do know it. I mean, I think that most Reds fans know that we're going to miss him. He has been, he's been a good player. He's been a good player. Life's all about perspective, as I've said before on this show. And the reality is that Tyler Stevenson came up and played so damn well his rookie year that you started to have these lofty expectations for him, and then maybe he didn't meet those. But a lot of that was basically because he did it to himself, because he played so well at the beginning of his career. And to be honest, Matt McClain, even though I think Tyler Stevenson has been better than Matt McClain from a bounce-back perspective, if you want to call it that, is that, it's all about the initial impression. And Tyler Stevenson, if you want to say he came up as a guy that maybe wasn't as highly talented and just was like a Ryan Hannigan type guy, I don't think anybody would say anything negative about Tyler Stevenson. I do think some people still say some things like he never really mounted to the powerful hitter that we thought he could be, or the big time professional hitter that he could be, but he still was above average. He still was a good player, and I think most of us won't take that too much for granted. So, Jacob Doyle says, Trey's trivia. I don't know. What's this mean? Does this mean he's putting some trivia on my plate, or am I supposed to just throw this out there? 5 hitters and 5 pitchers with 1+ WAR using Baseball Reference for the Reds this year.
I'm going to pull the super chat. I'm not cheating.
All right, so he's asking for WAR. I mean, it's Elly De La Cruz. It's Sal Stewart. Tyler Stevenson, probably. JJ Bleday.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, gosh. This team stinks.
I'm not looking yet.
I'm just going through the positions like I did last night. We already got catcher. We already got first base. Spencer Steer is like... Problem with Spencer Steer is like, what position is he even like? I don't know enough about WAR, but I don't know like what position he's considered at. But my guess is he's like an average player at best. 1+ WAR means like you're better than an average player.
There's a sneaky player that it might be. Blake Dunn.
Yeah, it's definitely Blake Dunn if he qualifies, because he was an animal.
Well, you can qualify. It's cumulative stats. You don't have to qualify. You either get to one or you don't. So,
Then
all right,
it's Blake
let's
Dunn.
check the results.
We have to do 5 pitchers too, really quickly.
All right, well, they're on 2 different things, so I'm not gonna get it. Elly, Sal, Stevenson, Blade, and it was Blake Dunn.
What's Steer? 0?
0.1.
Yeah.
Dane Myers, Nate Lowe, Jose Trevino are ahead of Spencer Steer.
Where's Friedel at, just to be fun?
Friedel is -0.5. Not the worst of the team, though. Suarez is -0.9, and Jose Marte is -1.1.
Gosh, Marte's that bad. 5 pitchers. Chase Burns.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Abbott.
I would assume.
I mean, we got to get to 5, Nick. How many guys are coming out of the bullpen? None.
I bet there's one out of the bullpen.
TJ Antone. I don't know.
I mean, he had he hit a lot of run in 2 months, and he had pitched the second most. I would think Antone's probably got to 1. It's hard to get to 1 as a reliever, though.
It's not Brady Singer. It is hard,
right? It might be Brady Singer. I mean,
he's thrown the ball exceptionally well the last month, but I go back to when he started the year.
I know. I just know because I had it in front of something else. He has a 4.35 ERA, so that's probably worth a win. That's probably a 2-win season. That's his pace.
That's 3. Are we just going to name the starting rotation?
That's 4.
Oh,
that's 4 if you're counting Antone.
We're counting Antone then. Okay.
I think there's probably one other reliever. I don't think it's Louder. It's not Louder.
It's not Lodolo.
I don't think it's Lodolo. I don't know, Lodolo. What is Lodolo's ERA for the year?
I don't know.
Lodolo's 4.60. Yeah.
I think
there's another reliever. There's another reliever I would pick ahead of Lodolo.
Well, then you can say it because I mean
Brock Burke.
Okay. Yeah, I mean.
All right, let's see. Let's see the results. The results are Chase Burns, Andrew Abbott, TJ Antone, Brock Burke, and it was Nick Lodolo at number 5, just ahead of Brady Singer. Lodolo's at 1.0, Singer is at 0.8. How about that Brock Burke?
How many starts has Lodolo thrown? What
12.
Innings? How many
12.
innings?
I don't understand because I thought that the Baseball Reference WAR calculations for pitchers was basically ERA dependent. Lodolo has a worse ERA than Singer and has made 9 less starts.
How many innings are we talking?
We're talking Singer's thrown 50 more innings.
Yeah,
I gotta look at the calculation.
Golly.
There is no way Nick Lodolo should be more valuable than Brady Singer. Maybe they are using FIP now for the.
This is where people
they
lose.
switch the formula on me.
They give up on the analytics when they hear some stuff.
Because if it would have been F4, I would have for sure said Nick Lodolo.
Yeah, I don't know. But hey, that was fun, Jacob. Appreciate it. We took up some time there. Scott,
super.
Or is it C. Scott? My apologies. Says Trace, was it a slap in the face to Sal that the Reds said they had no money for an extension, then immediately turned around and signed Burns? No, I don't think so, but I could understand if that would be taken the wrong way. The reason I don't think it should be considered a slap in the face is mostly because I feel like they probably had a conversation perhaps with Sal. Maybe they didn't. I don't know at this point, but starting pitching in general, as we've come to find out pretty evidently as we get the guys like Frankie Montas and now Singer at a deadline where you actually get something in return for these guys when otherwise you get nothing in return for most other assets, is that you just don't get a chance to get this many high-level arms that you can extend as a small market team in your organization. And if they found a way to where Chase Burns was ready to accept that deal, then I don't think that you could reasonably be upset if you're Sal Stewart. Now, if they went out and signed anybody else besides Chase Burns, then I think, yes, he could be overly upset. And Sal Stewart's a guy that I still have hope that the Reds can find a way to extend or make something make sense. But for whatever reason, not privy to me that the Reds have decided they're going to kind of stay steadfast on not really extending too many guys because of the CBA is my guess. We'll find out ultimately, but they went out and they took a chance on Chase Burns, largely because I think, like it or not, I think the Hunter Green signing has worked out, and even though he hasn't been healthy, it's still been a pretty good contract considering. So I think they tried to do that Hunter Green contract 2.0 with Chase Burns, and we'll see how it winds up. Your thought, Nick?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think that this fan base thinks Sal Stewart's worth a lot more than he is. And I love Sal Stewart. I love what he's done this year.
If he played third base, he'd be worth a hell of a lot, Nick.
Yes,
he would.
If he could play third base as an above average third baseman over the course
he can.
of
I've seen it. He can.
Yes,
he can, Nick. All right.
If he can and the Reds are not, then the Reds are making a massive mistake.
Well, I've watched it with my own eyes. I've not seen him at third base and think, wow, he does not fit there at all. I really haven't. Now, maybe I'd like to see it. I'd like to see it. I'll tell you that. Much rather watch him there than Eugenio Suarez.
I'd rather watch Michael Chavis in the second half than watch Eugenio Suarez.
That might be a low blow, but maybe not.
I mean, like, there's just no future. Like, I have no interest in watching players that aren't going to be on the 2027. I have no chance of being on the 2027 Reds. I just have no interest in that at this point.
Here's my only thing, Nick. Yeah, I'm gonna try to get you on my side on this. Listen. I've come closer and closer and closer to your side a few times. The only real reason that you feel the way that you do about him playing third base is from some arbitrary stuff that has been told to you by scouts and by people that say that he can or can't do this. That's why. If the organization themselves thought, hey, we believe that he can play third base, and he plays it just as well as he's played it so far, your tune would be different. And I get it. You're leaning on the experts that are supposedly down there telling us what we have and what we don't have. These are the same experts, by the way, that have swung and missed on guys time and time again. And we now are stuck with a guy like Brian Hayes, who I know you like to a certain extent, and you're praying and hoping that we can make that all make sense, but it's a lost cause in my opinion. And I'm telling you, hey, come on over to the Sal Stewart playing third base bandwagon, because if he can do that, he is an exceptional player in this league, and I think that he can. That's all.
He's only started 27 games at third base this year. I think it's not a very large sample. And what I'm basing this isn't based off one report, all right? I'm basing this off of someone in the organization that I trust that told me this. Baseball America said this, and the Cincinnati Reds clearly don't believe that he can. So it's like three different. So I don't think he can.
Again,
I think
and that's fine.
There.
You are using the opinion of the organization, and again, I get it. You're going to say that those guys are the experts. They've seen him way more than me or way more than everyone else. But I also feel as if if you tell that kid he's going to play third base, he will himself into being a solid third baseman. And I've seen him make plays that you can't say he doesn't have the arm. I've seen it. I've watched it. He's made plays behind the bag at third base and thrown the guy out. I've seen him range to his left and make plays. Yeah, sure. Maybe he's not the slickest of foot. He doesn't have the best hands like perhaps Brian Hayes does. It doesn't look as good. But I mean, when your OPS is 405, it doesn't matter how good you field the ball. Unless you're playing third base and left field like Brian Hayes would have to do and hit that poorly, it doesn't matter. And yes, I'm all for defense. I certainly am, which is why I still have hope with Matt McClain. But I'm praying. I need to get more people on the bandwagon of that. I do. That's the end of my rant. I don't have a rant tonight. I'm sorry for all the people tuning in looking for one, and I'm sure there's many people thankful I don't have one.
Yeah. I guess like there's no winning for me, because the only win would be if they gave him a shot there, but I don't think they're going to. So
I'm not expecting you to root against him. I get that. I get what you're saying. I mean, the win for you would be what basically happened with Edwin Arroyo, and he comes up and doesn't look as good as everyone said he's going to look, and you say, well, I kind of told you this, and you didn't want to listen to me. But yeah, I mean, this is the same guys that said that Edwin Arroyo could come up here and be this slick fielding second baseman and all these things, and all of a sudden it's like, well, they were wrong about him.
To be honest, I'm a low guy at Edwin Arroyo, and I think it's too small of a sample to make anything definitively on his defense.
These are the same guys that tried to give Matt McClain an extension, the same guys that gave Jeimer Candelario $45 million, the same guys that signed Moustakas. But hell, let's just keep on believing those guys over whatever my eyes have seen for a short sample size. Now, to be fair, I get it. They've seen him a lot longer than me, but I got to be honest. If I was the Reds and I thought, what was the biggest lottery ticket that might pan out, I think of all the lottery tickets that they could possibly try to pull, one of them is to put Sal Stewart at third base. Especially when I've watched this baseball team have the likes of Nick Senzel and Jose Barrero and whoever the hell else.
They played CS at third base. They played Gavin Lux at third base.
They've played Gavin Lux at second base.
Spencer Steer at third base.
In the outfield. They've played guys everywhere that are piss poor defensively. No offense to Spencer Steer, but he's not a great outfielder. So I guess what I'm saying is this organization can miss me with, oh, this guy can't play this position. You've stuck guys everywhere. You got Matt McClain playing center field this year, Nick. Give me a break. I'm done. I can't even. You're going to get me all pissed off. Yeah, the guy can't play third base. Okay, I've watched it. I've seen it with my own eyes. He makes the plays. Stick him over there.
Just to be very crystal clear here, I have been astounded against everything else the Reds have done that you just said. I have not liked any of that.
It's true.
I've complained about it every single night. So like this, they're finally doing it right, and you want me to go the other way. Like they're finally actually.
They ain't doing it right. They ain't doing nothing right, Nick. That's the problem. This organization can't even piss in the right urinal. They piss on the ground, all over their feet, then drag it all over the ballpark. All right, let's move on.
We'll talk some trade deadline.
Yeah, where do we go from here? I mean, what do we do on a show like this from here? Trade deadline. Yes, 20. Let's do. Let me bring you in, Nick. All right, ready for this one? 20 hours, 18 minutes and 30 seconds, Nick. The Reds will have to have made all of their trades, and likely you've already mentioned Singer and Stevenson being right there as the A and 1A, or 1B, I should say, on the guys they need to get rid of. Realistically, in your mind, how much farther are you willing to go down the line, or what do you think is realistic? You wake up maybe as a Reds fan on Tuesday, and you find yourself without whom on this baseball team?
Okay, this is actually part of the thing I wanted to talk about. So we'll do a little guess who the Reds will trade here in a second. Let's run through the first report that we had.
Perfect.
The only report we had from Sunday. Not really a crazy big news piece from John Morosi. Said the Reds are expected to deal at least one of J.J. Bleday, Nathaniel Lowe, and Dane Myers. Morosi also noted that Spencer Steer was expected to be in that group until he landed on the injured list. Interesting wording here, and I've read it like 5 times trying to dissect it. Expected to deal at least one. I don't understand why it would be a and or type situation, but then I read it again and it doesn't exactly read as an and or. It reads as a potential just and. So it shouldn't be an or. Like, I hope that that's not an or there, but it's also worded very strangely. But this trace is interesting because this is, I believe, the first time we've had a reporter actually mention J.J. Bleday in a trade without any sort of complete speculation. Could be missing something, but I don't believe I remember J.J. Bleday's name mentioned. So that to me is encouraging as we head into the trade deadline. Not necessarily because I am desperate for the Reds to trade J.J. Bleday. I'm completely fine with them holding on to J.J. Bleday if there isn't a great offer out there for him. But if they're willing to trade J.J. Bleday, that's a sign that gives me some hope that they might actually do what they need to do on Monday. Also, another sign maybe is the Reds have promoted Leo Balcazar to AAA. If you go look at Leo Balcazar's numbers, you probably wouldn't expect him to get promoted to AAA. So it's certainly not a merit-based promotion, but a promotion that seems to be in line with the fact that the Reds are expected to lose a player in the big leagues, move maybe Edwin Arroyo back up. So that's also a positive sign. Do you take away anything from this?
Yeah, I mean, they could also bring. They're going to bring up some guys from AAA based off the fact that there's going to be holes at the major league level. You'd like to think that Hector Rodriguez is probably going to get an opportunity here towards the end of the year to showcase what he can do at the major league level. You said that J.J. Bleday's name hasn't really been brought up in regards to speculations from a beat reporter or media perspective. And maybe that's the case, but on this show, we've been banging the drum for quite some time about a whole host of guys, and Spencer Steer and I think that J.J. Bleday were going to be the most polarizing ones that I think that most Reds fans would be upset with or have a disagreement on whether or not the Reds should trade or keep those players, because whatever you want to look at it from an organization standpoint with windows, and I know that some people don't believe in windows and you could have a sustainable system and all that. Well, the Reds have not had much sustainability outside of being, bad for a considerable amount of time. And the truth that I think is the reality for most, if not all, to be honest, franchises that are on the smaller market side is that you do have windows, and that's okay to admit. And if you're going to consider this Sal Stewart, Chase Burns, Hunter Green, Elly De La Cruz window, you take a blink of an eye, Nick, and you're going to run out of time with these core pieces, if you want to call them that. And you start trading the J.J. Bledays and the Spencer Steers for single-A type players, and you're going to lose a certain part of this fan base because they're going to say you don't think that you can win with this many elite, not elite, but all-star level players that are on league minimum. Some of these guys are on league minimum. Now, I know they just extended Chase Burns, and I get that, and obviously the Hunter Green contract's pretty damn good, but you got Elly, who is making league minimum until obviously he's going to get in arbitration here soon. I see both sides of it. And I guess what I'm at now, or where I'm at now, is that if I had full faith in this front office, I would say do whatever it is that you feel like you're getting the better end of the deal on. Now, I just want them to pick a lane. And it's almost like if you're going to pick the lane, which is sell, then it's going to be hard to sell it to most of this fan base, yes, because you've been doing it for so damn long. But you've got to find a way to stack 5 or 6 or 7 really, really good players over the course of a 2 or 3 year window and go for it. That's the way I view it at this current moment. Now, again, CBA might change things, and I hope that it does, and I pray that it does, and that might save really my Major League Baseball fandom. I don't think I'm ever going to be able to leave the Reds. But for me to care about this league as a whole, a significant amount, it's going to have to be much, much more competitive, balanced, and it's going to have to come down to what you can do in the front office and whether or not you make good decisions. Now, you can't be cheap, and I say cheap is like not a disrespectful thing to the Reds, but like you can't be a smaller market franchise and make bad decisions, or else you're going to be like where we're at now. I'm all about it, and I would say for those that don't understand why I feel this way, I don't think that those players move the needle enough for this baseball team to become as good as I hope that they can be. So I'm okay with moving them to maybe get somebody that accidentally ends up being a significantly better player than the one we traded. So maybe they don't. Maybe you trade J.J. Bleday and you get a guy in Double-A and he winds up being a bust. But maybe you trade away a J.J. Bleday and you get a Sal Stewart in return. It's just going to take a year and a half for him to get up here, and that's what I'm willing to risk, I guess, is what I'm getting at.
Yeah, I would say like this season and as a whole, obviously the results at the big league level have been incredibly disappointing and disheartening. But if this organization at least had a good farm system, like I could at least be a little bit excited right now. The fact that they're losing and they haven't won anything in 3 years and their farm system is ranked 25th, it's like just a double excruciating.
They've
like
just
that,
half-assed. I don't want to say it, but
Yeah.
you get what I'm saying. Like they've
They've half-assed it.
Yeah, you can't trade for Gavin Lux and then a year later be like, oh yeah, that didn't work. It's like you can't do that, man. You cannot do that. And that's what they just.
And that's what sold me on this whole thing was the exact quote was that we're going to build a pipeline, and they built the pipeline and they got a taste of success in 2023, and they said, up the hell with the pipeline. We got to try to do everything we can to win now. And they just kind of forgot about it. This season, as miserable and as disgusting as it's been, is now an opportunity to at least fix that farm system some. You can't tell me that you can't trade a bunch of these guys and your farm system won't improve. It will. Now it's not going to be number one or anything,
right.
But you could have a drastic improvement if you make some really smart strategic trades tomorrow. And this is a chance to make up for some of the mistakes that I think they've made over the last few years, and I hope they capitalize on it.
And they've just swung and missed on so many free agents. And I do think that most people probably don't understand how many free agents do get swung and miss on. It's not like most teams hit on every free agent they sign, but you can't swing and miss as often as they have. The Candelario signing certainly set them back. You can say whatever you want, but that was off the precipice of having a core group of players. You're trying to take that next step. You're looking to possibly build off of what you did in 2023, and then you go and get a dud, just a complete and utter dud. And then you back that up with ultimately finding yourself in a spot where you go and you make a trade at the deadline last year to get Cabrian Hayes. That's sunken cost yet again. You turn around and you get Eugenio Suarez, who really you don't even get a chance to flip at the deadline for anything of significant value. But you could possibly, and this is what I'm saying, you could possibly rectify that with the scrap heap pickups that you did between Nathaniel Lowe and JJ Bleday. So that's where my point is this: is if JJ Bleday and Nathaniel Lowe wound up kind of being DFA guys, they didn't play well, and I guess JJ Bleday probably just stay in the minors, but you get the point. They're not impact guys, and all of a sudden Eugenio was really good this year, and we traded them and got something in return for it. Everybody would be like, hey, it's not what we wanted, but at least we got something out of Eugenio Suarez. Where I'm at and now is like, you're not going to get much out of Eugenio Suarez. So why don't you take the couple guys that you did hit on and actually get something out of them, and we can call it a wash. But instead, my fear is that we're going to say, oh man, Bleday or it's really just Bleday, but Bleday is going to wind up being a cornerstone outfielder for us, and he might. But the chances aren't high that happens. And I like Bleday, but probably as a platoon player. And I know how many Reds fans are just over the platoon thing, but that's the truth. And we'll see what ends up happening. But if you can get some significant value out of JJ Bleday, I think that's the right move. He's under team control for a few more years, which makes me think that you would actually get something in return value. Worth exploring, but we'll wait and see. And if they don't do anything, you can lock me out tomorrow.
Yeah, it'd be pretty deflating. And yeah, to your point, for all the ones they've swung and missed on, they have hit on a lot of these smaller ones. Like Nate Lowe has been really good. JJ Bleday, some of the trades, everyone, obviously, Noelvi Marte hasn't panned out yet. Edwin Arroyo hasn't panned out yet. But Brock Burke has been great. Nick Martinez was a signing that was a great signing. Emilio Pagan has been a pretty good. The first of Emilio Pagan has been a really good signing. So I don't think they've been good, but I don't think they've been as disastrous as it's made out to be based on the spending level they're at. The problem, in my opinion, is they just don't have enough depth around those players, and they don't have enough guys coming up that are just truly impact. The Brewers, they're bringing up every other week a top prospect that's impacting their team. Sure. The Reds, man, it's like once every 4 months we get a prospect that we're like, oh yeah, excited about the, Sal Stewart and Chase Burns this year, but there hasn't been anything after that. And that's what's holding this organization's back. It's like they've got to get to a point where the answers are from within. If they're continuing to look for the answers in free agency and in trades, it is not going to work as a small market team because your resources just run out going that way too quickly.
Exactly. I just don't have much faith in the front office anymore. But if I put it this way, if the Castellinis or the ownership group were to decide to move a different direction in the front office, and this might be totally unfair to Nick Kroll and Brad Meter because I'm not in the room. I don't know if they're getting told that they have to do certain things. I'm just strictly assuming that they're the ones that are truly making every single move and they don't have any outside influence. The chances of that are probably pretty slim. But I'm going to assume that's the case. If there was someone else in there and they decided that at this trade deadline or in the offseason that they were to move Hunter Green, they were to move Elly together, and they were to get an absolute boatload of prospects back that are probably going to be guys that are going to be ready within a year and a half to 2 years that could, you have, call it 5 or 6 guys that are legitimately not lottery tickets, but more than likely going to have a decent chance at making the big leagues. I wouldn't even be overly disappointed in that approach because at some measure, you have to win. And if you don't think that you're going to win within the next 2 to 3 years, you're going to lose. And I say win, I mean like win the damn division. But if you don't think that that's the case, then build around Chase Burns and build around Sal Stewart and build around the fact that maybe Hector Rodriguez is going to come up and be a player that's worth having and go from there. And Alfredo Duno. But again, the Reds fans are tired of it, and I don't blame them. I'm part of it, but it seems like we go just in the middle. We are the prototypical D+ franchise. I don't even want to give us a C because that's passing.
Yeah, no, they've got to pick a lane. They have to, and they have to stick to it, and they have to see it out, and they can't change because something else happens externally.
And the other thing, too, that sucks is that we play a Great American Ballpark, and it's really hard to go out and try to find a guy that wants to have a prove-it year for the Cincinnati Reds. Not that there's many of those prove-it year guys, but, if you could overpay a starting arm for one season to come to Great American Ballpark, it's not a horrible idea either. But again, that depends on how much you believe in Rhett Lauder and depends on how much you believe in and Abbott's already been proven, but you get my point. Like, there's going to need some guys that come in and help this staff. Bullpen's not good enough. It becomes relatively depressing when you start to think through it all, I think. But maybe I'm just overly upset because of the way it went for 2 months, and I'm overreacting.
All right, to the other piece of that news, Dane Myers mentioned in that. We haven't really talked at all about Dane Myers as a potential trade deadline guy. I do think it makes a lot of sense to see if a team is interested in him. I know Blake Dunn is out for the year, so this might sound weird to some people, but I do think kind of how Blake Dunn has played this year has kind of made Dane Myers in some ways more expendable. And I don't mean that as negative to Dane Myers at all. But the fact that it's kind of hard to envision both of those guys on a big league roster at the same time. They're both right-handed bats that their value is hitting lefties. But Dane Myers is a guy that clearly plays great defense. He's a guy that has a great track record hitting left-handed pitching. And there's got to be teams out there that struggle with hitting left-handed pitch. We talked about that with Spencer Steer. There's plenty of teams out there that really struggle to hit left-handed pitching. Dane Myers would be a pretty big upgrade for them. So I think he's absolutely a guy you should be shopping. You have control of Dane Myers for a long time, so there's not really any sort of rush to just trade him. But he's 30 years old. This isn't – I was kind of surprised when I looked this up that he's actually 30 years old. I would have thought he was 27. He's a lot older. It took him a long time to get to the big leagues. So if you're able to get something, and basically the bar would be something better than Ethan O'Donnell, the guy that you gave away, if you're able to flip him for something you think is a better prospect, I think you should explore that.
fine with that. But this comes down to whether or not the Reds front office is capable of being able to evaluate talent and know if they can go ahead and flip guys or not flip guys. Like, do they believe in a guy like Blake Dunn? I don't know. I mean, is Blake Dunn a serviceable major league player? Certainly looked like it for, a month. But he's coming off of an injury now. You have some other guys that are, you got to find out whether or not Hector Rodriguez is the real deal too, in your mind. Like, these are the things that really good front offices are capable of doing. They know. They internally know. Hey, Hector Rodriguez is fool's gold. He's fool's gold. So let's package him in a deal with something else at the deadline, make another team feel like they're getting extremely good value, and let's bring in something else that's better. And then you turn around and you find out that, oh man, Hector Rodriguez he never panned out. Or you have to know that Hector Rodriguez is that guy, and you can make aggressive moves with your outfielders like a Blade or like a Myers, and then that works itself out. But you have to hit not home runs, but you have to hit on most of these decisions, and the Reds haven't done that. So no matter if you're a beat reporter, you're in the building or not in the building, it doesn't matter. You don't totally know until you find out in a year or two. But the track record so far on what this front office has been capable of doing since 2023 is not very good. And they've progressively gotten worse at the major league level, and their farm system has gotten progressively worse over the last handful of years. So looks like they're going to be the ones that are making all the decisions, though. And I'm here to say that I'm not overly pleased about it.
Let me run this by you. So let's say you trade Dane Myers. That kind of basically leaves you without a true center fielder unless you're playing TJ.
Still got TJ Friedl, of course.
Which I don't think any of us want them to be running out the string playing TJ Friedl. I am very opposed to the idea of Matt McLain playing center field long term. But for 2 months to end the year, just to be able to get Matt McLain at bats every day to kind of see if, hey, can his bat be big league enough? Would you be okay playing him in center field for 2 months just under these circumstances than calling up Edwin Arroyo? Basically, you're playing them to be able to make sure everyone gets enough at bats.
Is this a bit?
It's not a bit.
You're being serious.
I'm being serious. Well, who's playing center field if you trade Dane Myers?
Anybody besides Matt McLain. He's the best second baseman we have.
I agree, but we're not trying to win a pennant right now. We're
Then
we're a development team for the rest of the year.
Exactly, Nick. This is where the 4D chess move comes right back to me. That's why you put Sal Stewart at third base, Nick. You put him there for the rest of the year. You figure it out. Now, this thing's been a three-ring circus for 30 years. Why stop it now? No, I'm not putting Matt McLain there. Can Hector Rodriguez play center field? Can JJ Bleday play center field? Hey, I got one for you. You ready for it? Hey, call me a stand all you want.
Spencer Steer in center field before they played JJ
Bleday. Put Will Benson there for the rest of the year. Are you opposed to putting Will Benson there for the rest of the year? Anybody but Matt McLain. How in the world?
Hector Rodriguez only played 2 games in center field all year.
I don't give a damn. Matt McLain hasn't played 2 games in center field since he was playing Little League, and in Little League he played shortstop because he's the best player on the team. Oh man, we're losing you too. I tell you, I'm trying to get my sense, like some kind of sense back around here, and now I got Nick Kirby suggesting that Matt McLain could play center field. Please, Nick. Don't go to the dark side. I can't. Every time I go down the path of trying to figure out why putting Matt McLain in center field, why? Genuinely, why? He is so good defensively at second base that he's actually like, what's his WAR this year? What's his WAR? He's been the worst hitter in the world. What's his WAR? Because he plays second base, by the way. The same reason J.J. Weatherholt might win the Rookie of the Year is because he plays second base. And he's got good defense. So let's value that by us. And I'm all for value in defense. I'm telling you right now, you stick Matt McLain out in center field, that dude's going to be -2 WAR by the end of the year. And I don't even know how WAR works, by the way.
Just a way to get at bats. Not a long-term solution, just a way to get at bats.
What is Matt McLain's WAR at second base?
He is -0.1, the baseball reference version, plus 0.1, the Fangraphs version.
So what you're telling me is he's an average player in the league.
He's an absolute 0 if you combine the two.
So he's just an average player. And you know what's funny about that? If you ask Reds fans if Matt McLain's an average major league player, they'd spit out their drink. I mean, who's going to play second? Honestly, who's going to play second base?
Edwin Arroyo would play second base every day.
Oh, no.
It would just be a way to get both of those guys at bats to basically see who should be your second baseman in 2027. Like that's the only purpose of this. It's not because I want to play Matt McLain in center field long term. I just don't think Matt McLain not playing second base defensively the rest of the year is really going to impact. I think Matt McLain can play second base in 2027 if he doesn't play it the rest of the year. Like the guy didn't play for a whole year and he looked fine. It's only just to be able to basically fill out a lineup for 2 months. I don't want him there in 2027.
I don't know.
Maybe I do need to do more bits because this was great.
Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to figure this out. So you're telling me I got to watch a month and a half of baseball with Brian Hayes playing third base, Edwin Arroyo playing second base, and Matt McLain playing center field. Is that what you're telling me? And Jose Trevino catching. That's gonna be our 6, 7, 8, 9 hitters. Trevino,
PJ Higgins.
Gosh.
Marte. I guess Hector be in left field probably.
How did it get this bad? How did it get this bad? I'd rather just... Didn't we see enough of Arroyo?
Would you rather play Marte in center field the rest of the year?
You know what I'd rather do? I'd rather put Marte in AAA at shortstop and develop him and let him progress and actually try to become a good major league player at shortstop. So in 2 years, when you trade Elly De La Cruz, you have a nice, flush, ready to go, really good player that's actually able to hit the ball over the 250-foot sign at Great American Ballpark in the gaps, and also, by the way, can play really good shortstop. So when you trade Elly De La Cruz in 2 years, you have a replacement that is not a huge drop-off. That's number one, okay? Then from there, I'd like to find out if we can perhaps play McLain at second base and keep him there, and then at the end of the year figure out, okay, we have to make an adjustment or not. Brian Hayes he's back to the Arizona Complex League, okay? Put Sal Stewart at third base. I'd laugh all you want, man. I'm telling you, the guy is terrible. Anyways, we'll go back over here. Listen, I have a really good track record of knowing if third basemen that play for the Cincinnati Reds are terrible or not. And I'm telling you right now, I'll go 2 for 2. Candelario, trash. Okay? Ready? Hayes, not good enough. I love Hayes. He reminds me of himself. He's a soft-hitting, can't get himself out of a wet paper bag with his noodle bat, okay, but really looks good defensively. Trust me, that's me. That's who I was. I couldn't hit if it saved my life, but I could field the ball. Now, I would love to love a player like that, but I've seen enough of it. Then from there, I just honestly put Will Benson in center field for the rest of the year. And I know people are going to crush me for saying that, but that's where I would be. I don't need to see Arroyo, excuse me. I don't need to see him again in the major leagues in 2026. I've seen enough of it. He's not ready. He's not physically strong enough yet, in my opinion, to be at the big league level and play 162 games. I just don't see it.
You don't even want him up after the trade deadline if they did move multiple people.
I want him to play shortstop. That's his best chance to help this organization.
Let me ask you this, and we'll wrap this part of the conversation up. Would you be okay with like just some sort of massive rotation in the infield, where maybe we try to DH Elly a lot more in the second half?
That's fine. I'm not opposed to that.
And if Arroyo can play shortstop,
sure.
Yes. Play some second base.
Sign me up.
Play some third base maybe.
I'm fine with that.
They just kind of rotate these guys in and out, and then the outfield just kind of is what it is.
If they want to make the rest of the season look like spring training for 2 months, that's fine. But what I'm here to say is, if our goal is simply just to get at bats for Matt McLain, then I don't need to see it in center field. I just don't.
I just think it is the one solution to get everyone that I think we want to see at bats in the second half at bats. That's the only purpose.
Then DH Matt McLain. I don't care.
But I think we're gonna have more guys that we could play at DH. We don't have a center fielder. That's the problem. If you trade Dane Myers, we don't really have a center.
They're
fielder.
Not going to probably trade Dane Myers. But if they did trade Dane Myers, then you can bring up Will Benson.
You don't have to sell me on that, but you have to sell the manager on that.
TJ Friedl, by the way, like okay, this isn't a hard conversation. Like TJ Friedl is going to play center field.
That's true.
I mean.
I was kind of holding out hope that somehow he's gone.
No, TJ Friedl will play center field every single day. And you know what sucks is he'll probably end up having a good second half, and then all of a sudden Nick Krall's going to do his caravan tour, telling him how he had, some kind of malfunction with his ham bone or something, and that's what was causing him his issues in 2026, and he'll be back in 2027 at full strength, and it'll all be great.
I will wear a shirt that says "Fire Krall" on this show if the Reds give TJ Friedl $5 million in arbitration. You heard it here. Clip it up. I will wear a shirt. I might wear it every night all year. Like, there's no way. You can like a guy all you want, but when that $5 million bill comes, they're going to say no. All right.
Is there any chance that okay? Last thing I'll say. I would be extremely excited if they also are able to trade Pagan, because I just think that would be what's best for this organization. I do think Pagan's still solid, by the way.
Yeah,
I do.
It would kind of be nice to maybe sneakily add a center fielder at the trade deadline, like maybe someone that's more of a lottery ticket. Like
I heard Harrison Bader's available.
Another
Him and Elly. Elly's on the dirt bikes, and he can be on the e-bikes, and we could have a hell. Instead of doing the
scooter incident.
Yeah,
second drunk scooter incident.
Tough. Instead of doing the Mr. Red and Rosie Red and all those races that they do through downtown on the video board, we could just have like Elly and Harrison Bader and have a couple other guys up there racing through downtown trying to figure out who's going to get to Great American Ballpark first. I think that'd be fantastic.
It's serious. I do think it might be a nice thing to do to pick up a lottery ticket center fielder at the deadline. Like another team's Will Benson.
Luis Robert, as we used to call him.
I think he's out for the year.
It's Robert, by the way.
I know that's shocking. Shocking to hear that he's out for the year. But he is. All right, let's do this.
Yes.
Who gets traded?
All right, here we go. Tyler Stevenson. Is this like a snake draft? It's going to go back and forth?
No. This is just however many you think.
How many players, or are you somebody to name?
How many players and the names?
All right, it's going to go Stevenson Singer.
It has to.
Hunter Green is so close to coming out of my mouth. They don't believe in Hunter Green. They just need to be able to justify it to the fan base of why they traded him. So they have to get a good offer. And I genuinely believe that. They're going to trade some random reliever. I don't even think it's going to probably be. I don't even think it's probably going to be Pagan because he's just getting paid too much. But he's been good lately, so I'm going to say, optimistically, it's going to be the two locks, which is Singer and Stevenson, and then it's going to be either Hunter Green or Pagan, and one random reliever.
So you say 4 total?
Yeah, 4 players.
That's the same total I had. Pretty similar. I do think they trade Singer. I think Singer out of everyone is the most likely to get traded just because he's making a lot of money and they can get out of that full contract. So that is a easy cost saving money, and they'll also will get probably at least some sort of nice prospect back. I think they do trade Tyler Stevenson. I don't think Tyler Stevenson would have been as emotional today if there wasn't a real chance. Like, I think he's been clearly told, yeah, bud, you're getting traded. And I do think the Reds have heard enough over the years. They actually are typically pretty honest with the players. Like, they tell them there's a good chance you're going to get traded. I think those two are the for sure. I think Brock Burke will be the reliever that gets traded just because I think he's the expiring contract that has the most value. And I think that the Reds will get an offer that they go, yeah, we need to do that. I was about 4 hours ago when I was thinking through this, I was going to say that was only 3. I wasn't optimistic they'd do more than 3. But with the promotion of Leo Balcazar, that gave me enough to think they actually will trade Eugenio Suarez. So I'm going to go those 4.
Low have a chance to get traded, or I mean,
I don't think I don't think so. This is the issue: is it is hard to make 7, 8, 9 trades on trade deadline day, and the fact that they haven't made a single one. Yeah. I don't think the fact they haven't made a single one is necessarily like, oh my God, the Reds are just going to stand pat not do it. I don't think it's that, but I do think it makes it hard to trade a ton of players because each one of these deals, there's a lot of work that has to go into it. There's a lot of agreements, and you only have so many people in the front office that are decision makers. And so, like, I think doing more than if they went more than 4, I would be shocked. But those 3 are the ones I feel really good about. Suarez, I'm gonna add him on. I'm just with Suarez. I don't know if the ownership. I think it's an ownership thing with Suarez. I think that I could see ownership saying, "Don't trade him. We're not trading him for nothing back, and we're not even going to save that much money just because they're going to feel like, I guess it looks bad on them," which I personally don't think it does, but I think there is people in the fan base that won't understand that. And they want to appease that.
Yeah. Well, I hope that's not the case, which maybe it is, but if that's the case, I think they have bigger things to worry about than the perception of a small trade. It might be the perception of the entire run that they've been on as owners, but that's here nor there. All right. We'll find out. I mean, plans for tomorrow?
Yeah. So plan is going to go live as soon as the first trade happens. Knock on wood that a first trade happens. And then try to stay alive through the trade deadline. So we'll wait and see. We'll kind of see where we're at. If the Reds haven't made any trades, which you're going to have me coming on hot, we'll probably come on at 3 or 4 or so and write out the trade deadline. So that's the plans. If they make a trade super early in the morning, I will not be live. It'll be whenever I wake up and get going.
Right. All right. Well, we'll see ultimately what ends up happening. We have at this point, less than 24 hours. We'll wind up knowing exactly what they do. It might paint a better picture, or at least a clearer picture of where they're going to go as an organization. If they trade Hunter Green, then I think it's a pretty definitive decision that showcases that maybe they are going to go into a little bit of a bigger rebuild than many would have hoped. But I'd also say, like, just because you trade Hunter Green too doesn't automatically mean that you're cooked. There's no chance in the world you can compete in 2027 and 2028. Rhett Lauder could step up in a big way. You maybe you get some production from some other guys that you didn't see coming, but you got a bona fide ace, and obviously Chase Burns. Like, I think it's easy. even if you keep Hunter Green, the opening day starter is Chase Burns, which is crazy to think that we're in a spot where we clearly have somebody better than Hunter Green. And Hunter Green can be one of the best pitchers in the league, as we know. It all comes down to whether or not he's healthy, and I think that's why this organization's pissed off at Hunter Green specifically, to be clear. And I don't want to get into conspiracy theories, but it's pretty evident that they don't think that he's, I don't know what the right word is here, but I guess they don't think he's tough. Be classified as soft. I don't know if that's fair or not, but that's the way it's perceived. I mean, it doesn't take much to listen to Jeff Brantley talk about it. Mark Sheldon reports it. Those guys don't just make stuff up. They're hearing it from the organization, or they're hearing it from somebody that's got some credence to them, and they don't think Hunter Green is tough enough to be a guy that they can trust to carry the load at the top end of the starting rotation. And if they can go out and find someone that is willing to take him on as if he is that, then I think that'll be the end of that, and we'll go from there. So, all right, we do have some Reds MILB on a Sunday night. Nick, you had mentioned obviously Balcazar already moving up from AA to AAA, not even based off of not really based off of merit, but maybe need, which we'll see ultimately what ends up happening because of that. But Nick, anything else from Reds MILB you want to jump into?
Yeah, AAA Louisville, they won 8-7 over Indianapolis. The bats have been really struggling, so that was good to see. Hector Rodriguez had a huge day, 4 for 5, hit his 27th home run of the year and also doubled. Edwin Arroyo was 1 for 4 with a double. Will Benson 0 for 4. Michael Toglia hit his 21st home run of the year. Will Banfield hit his 9th home run of the year. Luis May actually started this game. This was a bullpen game. Through 2 shutout innings, just gave up 1 hit, no walks, and struck out 3 batters. So good outing from Luis May. Zach Maxwell pitched an inning in 2/3 scoreless. Did give up 2 hits and a walk, but struck out 2. Connor Phillips, boy, is he struggling. Gave up 4 runs, walked 3 batters, didn't get through an inning. Hunter Parks threw an inning in the 3rd, gave up 1 run. Chattanooga, their struggles continue. They lost 6-5 to Birmingham. Cam Collier hit his 15th home run of the year. He was 2 for 3. Jay Allen was 2 for 5 with a double. Leo Balcazar 1 for 3 in his final game with the Chattanooga Lookouts. The Dayton Dragons, they came back from down 4 runs to beat Quad City 9-5 in that one. The Dragons obviously having a great year. They're playoff bound. They're now 10 games over 500 at 55-45. Tyson Lewis had 2 hits. Peyton Stovall and Marcus Smith each homered. Smith also had a triple big day for him. Jean-Pierre Ortiz, one of the Reds' top prospects, though, did not make it out of the first inning, gave up 4 runs. And then the Daytona Tortugas, they just keep on winning. They won 8-3 over Bradenton. The Daytona Tortugas having an incredible second half. Now 10 games over 500 in the second half. They're 22-12. They have a 3.5 game lead in the division. Steele Hall was on base twice, 1 for 3 with a, or was on base 3 times, 1 for 3 with 2 walks. Driven Murillo had 2 for 3 with a double. Ronaldo Lantigua was 2 for 5. So good stuff from the Tortugas.
All right. We do have obviously some more baseball to be played. Well, I know for a fact Brady Singer's not pitching on Monday. That's a fact. He might be pitching, but it ain't going to be for the Reds. I know there for a minute Nick was like, I don't have everything ready. I'm like, well, we're good. We're going to go. Nobody's really overly worried about it, but he's going to try to update this thing on the fly at this point. Nick, take it away a little who, what, when, where, and why, my friend.
Yeah, Brady Singer is definitely not pitching on Monday. Probably not pitching on Tuesday either, but he is the Reds' listed starter going up against JT Ginn. I believe JT Ginn is an Ohio State guy. He's having a good year, 8-6 with a 3.46 ERA. Wednesday also at 6:40, Rhett Lauder, TBD for the Athletics. Hunter Green in the finale, 12:40 on Thursday. The Athletics come in just 45-67. Despite how bad they've been, they are not planning on making any deals at the trade deadline. So that's interesting. Reds will get a shot at the Athletics before next year. Reds will play the Athletics in Vegas, one of, I think, their I think they play a couple series in Vegas next year. Reds have a series in Vegas next year against them.
I thought looking at the 2027 schedule, Nick, was a waste of time, so I haven't really looked at it, to be honest. It
is late in the year.
It's still going to get rearranged. I mean, they're not.
No, they didn't last time. Last time they just picked it up where it was. So
all right, okay, all right. Well, we'll see. We'll see. Maybe you're right. Maybe they won't make any adjustments.
We did have a couple trades across baseball while we've been on the show.
Hey.
Kevin Gossman to the Cubs.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so that's a pretty big deal for them. Tyler Mahle, old friend to the Braves. I think that is all the big moves that have happened. Well, yeah. We'll follow it all tomorrow.
You said Ginn. What was Ginn's first name?
JT.
Not to be
JT.
JT
Ginn.
Not to be confused. If you're Ginn, regardless, if you're listening to this in podcast form, I can promise you I don't believe he's related to Ted Ginn. Shout out to former Buckeye Ted Ginn. Maybe he is, maybe he's not. I don't know. But anyway.
I don't think he is.
Like I said, maybe you never know. But I don't think he will be. That being said, it's been a pleasure. It's been an honor. We have plenty of super chats here to get to. Let's do those right now. Flat Rock 79 says, "Don't trade Steer. Put him at center." Well, the problem is Flat Rock he is not available. He's on the injured list, and if he wasn't,
pretty sure he's going to be out for the year at some point.
Yeah, if he wasn't on the injured list, I think he'd be on his way to somewhere else. But that's just the way it goes for the Reds. Also, kind of a crazy move, if we're being blunt, that the Reds decided to play Tyler Stevenson today on what is, I guess, obviously probably his last game, but just kind of wild to think that, you definitely are trading this guy, and he could have sat today and it would have been perfectly fine. But hey, it was a storybook ending. He ended up hitting a home run, but thankfully he didn't wind up catching a fastball in the inside half and be similar to where Steer's at right now. Z Sean says, "I'm a Cubs fan." I'm a Cubs fan and love to hear your guys' insight on things, especially in our division. Hopefully you guys have some beneficial moves this deadline. Well, that's nice. What a nice thing for him to say. That's how you know that you're not worried about the guy taking your girlfriend. It's like, let's invite him over to the house and let him hang out and hell, they leave him with the girlfriend and they can even cook together. That's how ugly we are. He's rooting for us.
Our thoughts on the division?
He said he likes to hear. He likes to hear our insight, especially in our division. He's just saying he likes to listen about what the Reds got going on. Why he's worried about us, I don't know, but hey, I appreciate the respect.
Maybe the Brewers podcast sucks. It's the only thing they're not good at.
Yeah. Hooked on Brewers. They probably suck. Flat Rock 79 says, "I'm just going to sit here is no good strategy."
Agree.
Yeah. Well, I've thought about doing that right here before. Just going to sit here, stare at this camera, and let Nick talk the whole show. I'm just going to say, well, I don't know. I give up. Jordan Lane says, "I know it's probably an easy answer, but if you trade players, would you rather want MLB-ready players or prospects, or is it a bit of both?" Well, you don't really get an option, I don't think, more times than not. If you're going to get an MLB-ready player back, and it's going to have to come from the likes of a high-level player that you already have. Like, you're not going to get an MLB-ready player for Brady Singer. And if you do, it's going to be like a retread, a guy that's bounced around the league for a while, and you think that he maybe can have some kind of reclamation project for your team at a position you need help with, like maybe a former second baseman or something. You want to plug and play there, but I don't see it. You're not going to get an MLB ready player back for Stevenson probably and or Singer. Hunter Green, you could, but then again, that defeats the purpose in my opinion. If you're going to trade a player that's ready to help win now, the chances of you getting a player back that's ready to help you win now is not ideal, because why would the team that you're trading him to want to do that against their own team? So it just doesn't, that's just not how it usually works. You usually obviously trade a couple different prospects that are highly likely to maybe have some success in the big leagues for a guy that's already ready to go because you need some help now, or it's obviously the opposite of that, where you trade a guy that's big league ready now and you get some prospects back. So that's why you don't really see that a whole lot. Anything you want to add to that?
It'd probably be a player that's maybe at AAA right now that just doesn't have a spot on a team. But in general, I'm just acquire the best talent you can get. I don't care if it's in the Dominican Summer League. I'd rather have a really good player with a high ceiling in the Dominican Summer League than a guy at AAA that has a 5% chance of panning out.
We'd have to get the entire league of the Dominican Summer League, Nick, if we're going to trade Hunter Green, though, to be fair. We literally get every team. Every single team.
I am not saying to trade Hunter Green for all Dominican Summer League players. Let me make that very clear. I just meant in general.
Yeah. The DSL the DSL Blancos would eventually they would turn right into the DSL Rojas. So you'd have a bunch of Rojas.
That reminds me of earlier this year. Someone sent me there was I guess a whole slew of internet personalities that were giving me crap for not wanting to trade for Byron Buxton last summer. And I was like, I don't even remember saying this. So I looked it up, and I guess Chatterbox posted a mock trade, and the mock trade was Sal Stewart, Rhett Lauder, and Chase Petty for Byron Buxton. And I said I didn't want to do that trade, but like the way it was perceived, Nick didn't want to trade for Byron Buxton, like basically assuming like I wasn't willing to give up like Steel Hall for Byron Buxton. When the reality was the trade was for Sal Stewart and Rhett Lauder. Like, it's kind of funny.
Yeah, looking back at it, it's kind of insane to think back through even the trades that the Reds decided to turn down in 2023. If you remember, it's like the teams were coming after him saying they wanted Matt McClain and all these things. It's like that would have been an insane move to make back then. But boy, you want to talk about Nick Krall, like looking like a genius if he did move Matt McClain and he wound up having the same output since then that he's had for the Reds in another uniform. Boy, I mean, heck, they might be building statues for him right now. Of course, probably not, but you get the point. So, all right. From here on out, I don't think we have any more super chats. I just want to say this has been really a fun show, like an enjoyable show for a team that's pretty irrelevant. Did win 3 or 4. Who knows? I'm going to keep saying they're irrelevant until they make the postseason, because at this point I'm going to treat it as a good luck charm by saying they're irrelevant. But my guess is that at some point they'll showcase why. Well, we want to sell all of our players. But I just want to say thank you. We've had a lot of people in here all night long, and we will be here tomorrow for the vast majority of the day. So if something goes down, you can be sure to tune in. We'll be talking about it immediately as it happens, and then we'll probably go live, like Nick said, for the remainder of the day. And if you haven't already, please hit the like button. For whatever dumb reason YouTube think that that's a big deal. I don't know why. Okay, that's the developers. Those nerds decided to think that little thumbs up button should be the end-all, be-all sometimes. So you'd please do that for me if you haven't already. And I also say, Nick, there's times where I get weird late at night sometimes and just like get online and start looking at kind of the review status of all the podcasts. And sometimes when you feel like you either have a bad show or maybe perhaps the Reds aren't as good as you'd hope for, you're trying to look for some pick-me-ups. It's nice to see the nice reviews. So thank you to everybody. If you've already left us a review on the podcast, that's fantastic. It means a lot to us. Nick puts a lot of effort, time, and energy into that. And I think that, most, if not all people obviously are very appreciative of it, but a lot of time gets poured into this. And if I'm being blunt, there are days where you wonder what in the hell you're doing. Why did we sign up to do this? But nights like tonight remind me why, because we've had, over 4,000 people join us. Probably going to be a significant amount more after everybody watches and replay. And we'll be back tomorrow to talk about the trade deadline and more. And as always, the goal's just to find a winner. I know people are upset about Tyler Stevenson when he did the interview. I get the crying ties to an emotional feeling to feeling bad for him. And I get the concept. We're all humans at the end of the day, and I hope Tyler Stevenson has unbelievable amounts of success at his next stop, and hopefully maybe we can even re-sign Tyler Stevenson perhaps in the offseason. But this town needs a winner. They don't. It's not about wanting a winner. This town needs a winner. This Reds organization is historic. It's the first professional franchise. There's a lot of ties to the history of baseball and this specific team and organization. First night game. You've heard about 75, 76. We have the Hit King. We have the 1990 wire-to-wire World Series champions. We have everything that an organization would love to have from a historical perspective. But at some point, this new generation of Reds fans, guys like myself, Nick, and thousands of you that listen to this show, we've not had that. And the goal tomorrow is to try to take a step forward to getting closer to that. And just standing around, hoping and wishing and praying is not a strategy. You've got to make bold moves. You got to make tough decisions. If you look back in your own life and you think to yourself that you're proud about whatever it is that you're proud about, where you've gotten, the job you got, the family you have, whatever it is, you had to make a tough decision to get to that spot. And the same can be said about this organization and this front office. It's time to hit a home run. It's time to find a way to go out and nab a player or two that in a year and a half, perhaps 2 years, can help this team get to a spot that we never thought possible as this new generation of Reds fans. And that's what tomorrow is all about. We hope to see you there. We hope you join us. Until then, as always, go Reds. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.